everyone. Hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Vctv, the Venture Capital TV, and it's from LATOKEN, as we all know. So today on my panel, I have some regular speakers who are regular speakers on Vctv and some new speakers as well. So today's topic is about investments in gaming, entertainment, and social media. And we have speakers from Singapore, Poland, and US. So a little bit background about Vctv for the new speaker, Vinny, who's just joined us for the first time. So Vctv was born in February 2020 in light of coronavirus pandemic shutdown. We used to host blockchain economic forum, which are the road shows across all the countries, Asia, Europe, US, Latin America. And we're supposed to host the road shows in Latin America this year. And because of the coronavirus, we had to obviously scrap that all. And then we moved online to an online platform. So the goal and the objective of the forum, the Blockchain Economic Forum, which is the physical road shows, is the same as Vctv. So we connect founders, startups with investors. So we have a community of startups who are looking to raise funds, traditional VC, initial exchange offer, so on and so forth. Then that's why we have the investors who are looking for the startups. So that's the whole idea. We connect them under one roof so that, you know, it's a mutually beneficial relationship from the both sides. So yeah, and when it comes to technology, we have taken the advantage of technology in our side to our benefit, and we have moved the platform totally online. So I host Vctv from Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. Singapore. I just want to make an announcement from next month, November 2020. We're going to have more shows. We're going to have 2 shows in a day at different times. So stay tuned, more information coming out from my team members, Carol and Maria, on that. Yes, because we are getting more and more traction in terms of viewers, in terms of founders, in terms of investors. So that's why we have more shows. Okay, great. Before I start the panel, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the Regional Director of LATOKEN, and I'm based here in Singapore. And welcome all to Vctv. I would like to start with my first speaker, who is in Singapore, and because he's here for the first time. So Vinny, welcome to Vctv. How are you today?
Good, as some kids running around in the background, but doing well. Thank you for inviting me on. Honored to be here.
Yeah, we absolutely understand background noises, because we are all working from home. We have children, yes. We have pets. So that's quite understood, no worries. So this is the first time you're here. We would like to start the short introduction about yourself. When you're comfortable, a short introduction about yourself, your company, and we go to other speakers.
Sure. So Vinny Loria, co-founder of Golden Gate Ventures, a VC firm investing across Southeast Asia. We've been in operation for 9 years now. So I've been out in Asia for 10. Before this, I was in San Francisco, co-founded 2 startups, both in the social space, chat and communities. Now we've invested in quite a few entertainment startups, no gaming, but a number of live streaming, entertainment, social apps. And generally our thesis is Southeast Asia, what is unique to this region, whether that is a social app unique to this region, logistics, e-commerce. We've done over 50 investments to date.
Yeah, and I remember Kendrick, we had him early on Vctv, and also you focus on, you are industry agnostic and technology sector agnostic as well, I guess.
Yeah, we invest basically behind the rise of the consumer. So the whole, think about China 10, 15, 12, 15 years ago, rising consumer class, people earning more money, spending more money. So we invest in technologies, and that's why it's agnostic. It could be a consumer-facing app, or it could be a logistics company using, technology for their supply chain. So whatever we see trends following the rise of this consumer class, that's what we'll invest in. And then, Kendrick of Lunix, so we spun out a crypto fund 2.5 years back that Kendrick manages, and Lunix has been doing phenomenally well. We were the first fund really to be recognized by a crypto fund to be recognized by a government authority, the MAS here in Singapore.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Avini, and welcome to Vctv. Fantastic. So next I'd like to go Jose. Hi, Jose, welcome back.
Hi, Sonny.
Hey,
yeah, always happy to be on your shows. I really love it every time. Also, these topics are very interesting. So I've been a serial entrepreneur now for 40 years, 26 years as a business angel, investing in different types of ventures, from consumer products up to technology. Have been a VC for more or less 3 years. I'm still an advisor for the biggest Portuguese VC. I still do a lot of entrepreneurship myself. The reason for this is that I've always been on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur and as an investor. And for some reason, I just am addicted to kicking off businesses, because it's much more nicer to see things grow and being part of the whole setup than just investing and waiting until it comes out. So it's a long time that I've been in the entertainment industry, but I have quite a long experience. I've been more or less 7 years in the entertainment industry. That's where my career more or less started. So I'm really excited to talk about this subject today. Thank you.
Yes, I would really like to hear that as well, because I know Biz Money and I've seen the presentation, amazing presentation, but I haven't actually really known about the entertainment bit, which I'm going to ask you today. Thank you, Jose, and welcome to Vctv. Last but not least, Irina, hi, welcome back. I really like your background. It's scientific. It's like, out of my zone. So welcome back. How are you today?
How I feel today. And Vinny, I love hearing a sound of your very young child that I can tell that was running. So I think it's one of the beauties and benefits of our current reality is that it kind of allows us to be more personal and stuff. And, we usually would do work that way. And hearing that just reminds me of like my kids sometimes hiding behind my back and just poking their head, and it's just always so pleasant. Anyhow, pleasure to be back. I love Vctv. I love what you guys are doing. I've been talking on Vctv sometimes 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes 15 times a week. I mean, right. It really depends. If I feel the need to connect, I'm like, okay, I'm going in, I'm gonna do it. And it's an amazing experience, because even though week after week we repeat the topics, it seems that everything is moving so fast that if you're a generalist, things are moving and progressing. And so staying on top of these conversations and connections is just important, so important. And it hasn't been boring, right? Which is great job for you guys. You're doing an amazing job making sure, for those of us that are consistently here, it keeps being a great experience. My name is Irina Lichtsfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman. I'm founder of Blockchain Cubed. It's a blockchain integration company and strategy consulting. I'm also president of Lumeria. Lumeria is where capital meets innovation. We are working with growth stage companies, and our goal is to democratize investment opportunities all over the world and finally evolve global capital markets. So big work, long and lengthy. I also used to be many years ago founder of Pokertainment, which is kind of a hybrid entertainment and gaming company. And so this subject is very, very interesting to me, combining technology and combining gaming, entertainment. And now social media, of course, is kind of a key of our lives, which is amazing. So pleasure to be here, and thank you, Sami.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Irina. Welcome back again. As rightly said, we please audience, if you see babies, children, kids, pets around us, it's just a part of our working life. That's the new normal. Thank you so much. We all set with the introductions, and thank you so much for that. I'd like to start with Vinny. So Vinny, we live in Singapore, like yourself and myself. So we've seen recent news of TikTok moving their offices to Singapore, and some other Chinese social media apps moving their headquarters to Singapore as well. So what does that tell us? Like, is this basically, in favor of Singapore, Southeast Asia, or Asia as a whole? What's happening? What are the latest trends in the space?
So it's pretty interesting to follow what's happening. So yeah, TikTok, WeChat being blocked in India, being blocked to some extent in terms of new downloads in the US. I think Singapore is is a bit of a Switzerland, globally. And so Singapore fits a really good role like that. I think a number of US companies, Amazon, Facebook, have recognized this, a number of Chinese titans, ByteDance, Alibaba, Tencent. So that's a win for Singapore. And they've spent a long time really being this super comfortable, straightforward, best place to do business, good governance, and I keep using this word, platform. The other part of that is then Southeast Asia. And so as an American that's been out here for a decade now, I made a big bet in Southeast Asia 10 years ago saying the next decade is going to be crazy growth. And I continue to make that bet. I believe the next decade, Southeast Asia will be a driver, an engine of growth globally. Jose was talking about, just some of the lockdowns in Europe, and US does not have its act together at all. Latin America is, not doing great. So Asia is where it's at. And then you have markets like China that will continue to grow. To me, Southeast Asia is interesting because it's probably going to have the most delta year over year. As an investor, what we like is delta. It's not just about growth or absolute numbers. It's how quickly things change. And right. Southeast Asia, in that sort of development life cycle curve, being 10 years behind China, has a lot of delta ahead. So that's very exciting.
Yeah. So in terms of entertainment, what's the latest?
What's the latest?
In terms of entertainment. So we spoke about a little bit of social apps. Shall I come back to you?
No, I was hearing somebody else's, but I think maybe it was on my side. Could you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. So in terms of entertainment, so we've made a few investments in the space. Probably our largest investment to date is GoPlay. So that's a spin out of Gojek, somewhat similar to Netflix, targeting the Indonesian market. What's interesting on the entertainment side is, and going back to gaming, I'm a big believer that everybody, gets their first. I got my first computer to play games. People get their first mobile phone to start playing games. So I think of gaming is what really gets people online, and then gaming is what gets people to spend money. So that is like first driver. We've seen a lot of that in Southeast Asia. I think secondary to gaming, then it's other forms of entertainment. Music, video, even like novels and reading and books and stuff, podcasts. So for us, we see gaming's already been a really big industry in Southeast Asia. Streaming video is definitely next. What GoPlay is doing that is kind of different than a number of the other competitors around Southeast Asia is they went to Hollywood and said, rather than licensing the existing Hollywood content and paying you a lot of money and not making enough money to resell it, they said, could we license the brand? And in America, people are very familiar with this. The Office was a UK show that a US company then licensed the brand, rewrote the script, new actors, and localized it for the American Office. One of Netflix's biggest early series, House of Cards, was a completely UK-owned brand, House of Cards, that Netflix then bought the rights to write the storyline, create a new script, new characters. GoPlay is doing just that, and they launched earlier this year with their first show, Gossip Girl, all in Bahasa, Indonesian cast, localized stories, and it's doing phenomenally well. And so this is where it's interesting. It's not just, hey, we're creating local content, people do support that, but when you know something has worked, you look at that and then you localize it from an entertainment standpoint. That's where it gets interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting to know. Thank you, Vinny, for that. I'm going to come back to you later with more questions. Jose, I would like to know more about the entertainment industry. What are the trends, especially in 2020? What's happening? What has changed and what's happening right now?
Well, let me go a little bit back in time. I always like to compare what happened in the past. So my first business, believe it or not, was created when I was 16. And what we were doing, we were editing one music, at the time was a cassette, you have no DVD, right? So we were editing one music cassette every month, okay? And eventually we were doing it like 3-4 cassettes a month. And that was my first experience. And then I became a singer for some time, okay? Because I play music and I sing. Eventually I recorded a single at the EMI studios in Amsterdam. So I did concerts in Europe. So I can tell you it's not an easy life. It's not what people think it is. And eventually I enrolled more or less into Dutch TV. And in Dutch TV, I did a lot of things, but my last role was basically filming and directing documentaries, okay? So if you look how things were set up at that time and how things are set up today, the speed in that everything happens, still a lot of it is still traditional, but a lot of stuff that you can make today because you have a huge amount of libraries of videos ready. So you take those videos, you check the libraries, you mix them, right? You can put people on top of it. There's so many opportunities that you didn't have, okay, more or less like more than 30 years ago. That's one thing. The whole advertisement industry and the entertainment industry moved from more or less the TV, okay, and the cinema. Okay, we cannot forget that, although cinema still has this aura of a special environment, right? Yeah. And I go to cinema especially for that feeling. Right. But we cannot forget that the streaming, okay, that came into our lives changed the whole concept. You know, I can even remember that I didn't watch TV for like 4 years on a row. It was done because I would just stream either on the laptop or on the tablet or whatever it was. Okay, so now we're going to see a phenomenon, which is basically the next step, is that more or less we ourselves are becoming the entertainment, right? Because social media has made it possible that we become ourselves part of this show every day, either by being on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, right? Or even on LinkedIn. And that is a big shift. And also the whole advertisement industry, okay, has made this shift more or less into the same direction. And you see today that the amount and the volume that is revenues that are generated today in the advertisement industry, it's tremendous compared to what it was in the past. Okay, it's much, much bigger, right? And the ways you do it. And sure, still, TV is very nice, okay? But the biggest problem that we had with TV and radio, we cannot forget that radio, still is, but the advertisement in radio, okay, is not. Now, I need to tell you that I had a investment in a radio station for some time, okay? So I know more or less how the business works. So what happens is that you cannot measure the effectiveness of the campaigns that you throw out. That's the biggest problem. And now suddenly, because you have a converging of, let's say, different things, right? Even music today is launched on YouTube or other channels. You know, you download it from the Apple Store and you just pay a fixed fee. It's nothing compared to what you did in the past. You would buy a disc or a DVD or whatever it is. So the whole concept is changed. There's a converging between the entertainment and the advertising. Okay, and the biggest change, in my opinion, is that we are now, okay, the show. We ourselves are the show, and that's a big difference because in the past we could not be part of that, right? We could not be on TV or on the radio or whatever. So that's the way I look at it. There are quite a huge opportunities, I can tell you that. Okay, but I will talk about the opportunities maybe later on and leave you know, a next shot for one of the other panel members.
Yeah, I think you brought back memories. I really don't remember when was the last time I switched on a TV. So true, right? You know, we've been watching everything on laptops or handsets. Thank you, Jose. Irina, over to you.
I watch TV. I have TV. I love my shows. You know, you're 100% right though, and like, well, TV now means you're still using apps, right? Like I'm using all kinds of apps through my Apple TV, and we actually, it's funny, we bought a farm and a land, and they had a phone line, like, you know, phone line with the telephone with the wire, and they had a TV cable there, and it just seemed so strange and unnecessary to have, you know, to have these expanses and these vehicles of communication, because it's like I don't need that. Though interestingly, going through the current reality at some point where things started becoming questionable, and kind of looking at what happened in the space industry and how we are really experiencing big space war, right, for information and for communication. And there are certain things that are happening, it's not really discussed in the public, but basically realizing that, like, oh, our things can actually turn off pretty fast and we can get disconnected, felt pretty safe to have that phone line, like the actual wired phone line. Yeah. So anyhow, so much happening in the current world of gaming. First of all, I mean, gaming has been part of human evolution, no matter what. We learn through game. We learn through game as a children. We learn through game as adults. And I would argue, in some theory, even the work we do is a way of expressing game to us as human beings. And so it's been a very important part. And now I would say, like, in the last, since Maria Montessori kind of came into the education and did the observations 100 years ago, we started understanding the role of gaming and of a game, and it's been evolving in our concept more and more and more. Mm-hmm. So now, through what we're experiencing right now, it's becoming very clear that if we're going to stay disconnected physically, we need to be able to find a different way of educating. And so gaming becoming a really big part of it. It's also becoming a bigger escape. A lot of people are diversifying their, what do you call the hardware, right? I mean, one of the first things we did is go and buy VR, right? Buy Oculus. Now, of course, the fact that there's no more wires connected to it made it to where it's accessible, but that's one of the things we went and did it, because it's like, okay, how else am I going to entertain myself? Now, of course, it wore out pretty fast, but people are using gaming a lot now. When we look at our blockchain industry, huge growth is happening for companies that are providing some kind of a tokenized rewards, tokenized rights, and of course now rights for the content as well. So that's becoming very, very important. Entertainment, oh guys, I think that's a hugest part right now of how we've changed our lives. And we're now forced to be to where we can no longer go see live concerts, which is a really important thing for people. I mean, even to go into saying that now you cannot go to clubs, right? So that's something that's not a concert, just to express yourself through the dancing, through listening music, to going, seeing art. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's right. It is entertainment, and people crave that. For example, when we go to a restaurant, I love this restaurant in Austin, Texas. It's called Polvo's, and it's downtown. You know, it's not too fancy to where like it's downtown fancy things. Yeah. And it's a Mexican restaurant, Tex-Mex actually, and they play this music, and people now, they go dancing there. they'll just stand up at the table and ladies are dancing. We have this need, and we don't have vehicles to communicate to people how to entertain them, right? And so I think that's where we see one of the bigger opportunities is to understanding how do we provide new forms of entertainment, because it is very, very great. It's very, for example, here in Austin again, throughout summer, we had big growth and huge waiting list for kind of a smaller gathering for beach clubs. So, they're just at the pool, and the fanciest hotels were sold out, and they were providing entertainment. They saw the opportunities. They spent more extra money to make sure the spacing is there and all of that. But people need it, and it's there. And obviously for social media, I mean, it's all of a sudden, it's kind of like something that we married into our life. And for the most part, we do not know how to divorce ourselves from it, even if we want to, right? Sure. It's kind of like now that you found yourself in the relationship that you did not even know that is going to be there, right? It's kind of sneaking into our lives. And most importantly, not just that, but we need to understand how to integrate that into our own lives, into lives of our businesses, and most importantly, into lives of our children, right? Like we need to be able to educate generations into kind of understanding what the heck does this all mean. And the truth is we still don't know, right? We, as Jose said, we are the entertainment. Now, of course, one of the bigger things that I'm seeing from big generalist VC, kind of VC firms, big ones, is really looking for opportunity to come in and play kind of what new social media means. How do we reward people for being the entertainment, right? And I think that's kind of the biggest question right now, and the biggest opportunity that is in the social media is how do we do that? Obviously, I'm going to say that cryptocurrency itself plus blockchain technology allow, and I'm saying them separately because remember, those two can be different. So we can look at it as a kind of a cryptocurrency layer, or we can look at it as a blockchain technology layer that does not even create cryptocurrency. We can integrate on both sides, and to me that's really interesting. So I think big opportunities coming through that. Obviously, a lot of people are running at it, a lot of people doing it kind of openly, a lot more are doing it on the background, right? Like kind of they're not competing and poking any bears yet, but I do think we'll have a big push and a big run in that. And who knows? I remember hearing just maybe 10 minutes ago that things don't change, things always change. That's one thing we can rely on, is that things always change and nothing is permanent. That's the reality of our lives. It appears that they are through a short-term period of time, and when they do happen, they happen fast. And I think that the global awakening for people in the realization of that being actually what happened to all of us in the last, in this year, earlier this year, because nobody thought that this is possible. Like nobody in America thought that somebody, like, we're just gonna shut businesses down and like people are gonna stay home and you're gonna be told to wear a mask and all these things. That was unfathomed, and it was unfathomed in most of countries, and now that's a reality. That just a reminder to all of us that things do change. We always must be prepared. That means we must be prepared for the changes of opportunities, and opportunities are vast right now.
Yeah, great points, Irina, and very practical as well. You mentioned about restaurants, and Jose was telling me that whenever he was in Singapore before, he was in this hotel with the boat on the top, and I could just say it's the Marina Bay Sands. The Marina Bay Sands is just not a hotel, it's an entire experience on its own. I was just telling Jose, it has a casino, he has shopping malls, he has full entertainment, clubbing, everything at one place. And when you go there now, that place was the life, sort of in the heart of Singapore, and very lively. When you go there now, there's nothing there. And it's very saddening, to be honest. But as human beings, we miss that. As you rightly said, when you go to that restaurant, the music lifts you up, lifts the mood up, and we've been used to such things. And so yeah, we have to find ways to bring that back. But again, I think this is a forced marriage. I would say forced marriage, and we have to just do our duties. Thank you so much, Rina. And coming back to Vinny, I just want to know what has changed in terms of investments. So recent investments that you've done in the space of entertainment or social apps, what kind of investment models have emerged during this time, this year? If you see any changes from last year, if you could share those insights with our audience.
Sure. So yeah, to be honest, the investment models have not changed. I haven't seen, other than maybe a change in valuations, or for some industries being a little more difficult, let's say travel to fundraise and needing to do more debt or something like that. I haven't seen much of a change in instruments. And we've made 4 investments over the past 6 months. But in terms of entertainment ads, I think there's definitely been a change. I mean, people are at home more, even stuck at home, and so the idea of escaping through your phone, for better or for worse, is definitely like the trend. And so there's been behavior shifts. We've done within the past year 2 entertainment investments. GoPlay, in addition to having a Netflix streaming service, they've been doing call-in, like we're gonna have a celebrity online, and it'll be live stream. So now not only can you watch it on GoPlay, but you can watch it just like you guys are live streaming on other platforms. So I don't think that would have been thought of 1 year ago. But I think now, knowing like, hey, there is this audience that's definitely engaged with their phone, computer, laptop, iPad, whatever it might be. Let's reach out to them on different channels. So I think these entertainment companies are thinking differently. For the other app that we invested in, it's still stealth, but they're going very well. They have a purely social sharing component to it, but they've launched a kind of sub product underneath in the gaming space, knowing that basically their app is getting very popular. How do you make it stickier? Keep people in it longer. And this is where I hadn't really seen apps saying like, we're going to go into a completely new realm. I guess you kind of see that with the super apps on commerce. I hadn't seen it so much in social. So these are the sort of, I think, changes we're seeing with COVID. And my view of COVID is like, totally unfortunate. People are dying. It's killing economies. Yeah. There's huge behavior shifts. And as a VC, it is our job to invest in the future. And basically bets that we were making, just last year about what behavior shifts do we expect 4 to 5 years out. Let's invest in that now. COVID has like literally those 4 to 5 year bets, it had shrunk it to 4 to 5 months. And we've seen massive behavior shifts in terms of this sort of engagement. And there's a muscle reflex with that even when things are back to normal, whatever normal might be 1 year out, people are going to be doing more online. People are going to be buying more online than they ever had before. I don't think that has already changed. And I think when things are normal, it's not like people forget about that. They're going to be just as addicted.
Yeah, I think we've just gotten used to, as Irina said, so I just can't hear myself for a bit. I don't know why, but anyways. Thank you, Winnie. And I think you rightly pointed out about the behavior shift. Of course, I mean, it's like a 360 degrees shift. I would never imagine sitting in front of Zoom every day at 8 p.m. Singapore. Thank you so much. Next, I have Jose. Jose, you wanted to share some opportunities that lies, in front of us in this space with the viewers and us, other speakers.
So first of all, I would like to say that Vinny made quite some good points here. He really touched the changes that are going on. And on top of that, I would like to add something that, we work on what we call business inclusion, okay? Mm-hmm. There is a specific reason for that, because we are working on something which we call FinTech impact, okay? So it's like more or less FinTech, but it gives an impact. And the reason for that has everything to do with entertainment as well. So let me put it like this. We have on the planet today 430 million permanent unemployed people that need to be entertained every day. Okay, there's no way you can get under it, right? And I'm not even talking about the elderly and the young people. If you take the elderly and the young, right, on a 6.6 billion population, okay, we probably are talking about half of the global population, more or less. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So these need to be entertained also, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a huge opportunity in that area, which is a market that is recurring every day, right? And some people really do a good job in taking advantage of it. But I always look at what I say, what are we going to do with those 430 million people? Are we going to just give them entertainment, or could we convert them into any type of vertical of industry, right? That they could participate, okay, themselves into the whole process. And that's where I see the opportunity. So definitely I see a big opportunity in what I call gaming and entertainment at the same time, okay, combined more or less with e-commerce, okay, because the technologies will converge more and more, okay, and these, and then get these people to take part of the whole process, right? Now, those 430 million people, okay, they are worth, I can tell you that, probably more or less, like, 20 to 50 trillion dollars a year.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Huge market, right? And it's not only for entertainment, but also for other areas. Okay. So what we are trying to do is getting those people that are unemployed, okay, have no perspective because they are permanent unemployed. And the tendency, the way things are going in the world, is that we're going to only get more and more people, okay, unemployed because of robotics, machine learning, AI, and all that stuff. Okay. And we need to get them back, because what is somebody going to do that has nothing to do the whole day, right? He will do something bad at the end. That's human wise, right? So anything, okay, that will make a shift in entertaining them and being able to involve them in the process itself and pay them back. Okay, I'm just giving a small example. Let's say they have a live show as an example, right? And they get paid back to do that live show.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an opportunity, right? So that's where I see the really big opportunities, and it's massive. I can tell you that if you do it properly, you're really talking about billions of dollars. Okay, on a global scale, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic idea, and nobody probably, I don't know, I haven't heard about it before, how to make an impact in the society by employing the unemployed in a different way. So I think this is a great idea. I mean, we need to have more brains on to structure and maybe have a product and have a go-to-market strategy. Let's discuss this after the show in details, Jose. Thank you so much. That's quite interesting, to be honest. Thank you. Next, I have Irina. Irina, just would like to ask you, what kind of investment models are coming out in terms of investing into entertainment startup, or a gaming startup, or a streaming startup, or a social media app startup, like likes of TikTok? So what kind of do you see, like growth stage investment, early stage investments? Obviously, the valuations, as Vinny said, has been affected. So considering that, what kind of investment models are emerging?
Yeah, so for early stage investments, of course, there's, we kind of have three models, if you would, right now. Obviously, traditional venture. We do have a lot of traction right now happening in the form of initial coin offering. That works. It works pretty well. I think people will get confused about this because they look back at ICO and remember, like, you could raise $100 million, but like for early stage companies, it's always like, not a good idea. Just there's a reason why, there's a reason why for early stage company, there are caps, right, to that. So just because there's so much, whatever, anyhow. So we're seeing that, and in Asia, that's happening much more. So those models are working very well, especially for gaming, social media, and entertainment, because there's a lot of opportunity there right now. And it just kind of makes sense, right? Like tokenizing a lot of interactions on the inside of the platform makes sense. And so it makes sense to kind of go and pre-buy the membership, if you would, right? Because that's what it allows you to do if you break it down in kind of a regular terms. And of course, there's crowdfunding. We're seeing a lot of interesting crowdfunding. I mean, for later stage companies, it is amazing what's happening. I mean, look at Robinhood. It's nuts, right? Like it's just crazy what's happening. And to me, what that means is that there's a huge need for alternatives in investment for later stage companies. And this is the reason why. And I do like to, we all know about it, we just don't talk about it. In the early stage, there's a lot of risks involved, right? So early stage venture capitalism is the easy entry. It's easy to get your hands on a deal flow. Any company will grab to your money unless you're experienced entrepreneur, you come from Silicon Valley, you've done that, then maybe you're not going to touch it. You understand the value of touching the money and the repercussions that come with it. But for the most part, if you're an entrepreneur, whoever writes you check, you'll just take it, right? Like, and whatever terms they want, you'll take it. And at the end of the day, you might like be all, whatever, but you'll take it. And that's kind of the reality. And I think that to be seized to those investors who want to become venture capitalists, the reason, because there is a deal flow for it, allows for easier entry. The later stages VCs are much harder to get into. And one of the reasons is the deal flow. It's the later stage you are, and by the way, guys, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, Jesus, when are we gonna finish? Like, at which point do we say it's enough? Okay, so later stage VC models are broken, right? Going public is broken, and so and what that creates is that the opportunities from a growth stage companies are not passed to what we call unsophisticated investor. It's an official term, and you guys know that. So it gives me goosebumps all over my body just think that we are now in 2020 calling people unsophisticated investors, because 20, 30 years ago, we needed to make sure that brokers dial for dollars, because people that are investing were not educated enough they did not have access to the information. They were not educated enough. Like it's mind-boggling. And so that's where I'm seeing a big shift in that, and I see huge opportunities in actually growth stage companies, full growth stage companies coming in and doing fundraising. And again, Kendrick's platform is doing so great right now. It's kind of a new. Do you know who I'm talking about? Republic, right?
Republic,
so
yeah.
So Republic is doing great, and they tokenized the investment. They're putting in all these layers, and they're growing so great. Of course, Kendrick is partners with the founder of Angel List. So to me, what's interesting is they just kind of like moving in and evolving what Angel List is, and and allowing for different alternatives. And it is alternative funding models, I think, that we really need to think about, and we need to think about them on a local scale and on a global scale. Also, what's interesting, and I think it's really worth discussing that, guys, today, and just bringing it into the conversation. What is happening for entertainment? Okay, look at Burning Man. they're facing bankruptcy.
Yeah.
60,000 people paying almost $1,000 a ticket, okay? And now they're facing bankruptcy. Why? Because they're a nonprofit organization. It's ridiculous. And if you look at a lot of entertainment, a lot of this kind of a company, and a lot of these entities are nonprofit organizations. For the most likely, your ballet, your local ballet company is nonprofit organization. If it is nonprofit organization, they're most likely facing bankruptcy right now. They're most likely asking you for donations because they're not generating revenue. And remember, the nonprofits are not allowed to have profit, so they do not have ability to be able to have operational expenses forward, right? They cannot have holding pockets for operations. And so what is happening, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because, again, blockchain technology and allows us to really create different models for the nonprofits, for those who are driven by cause and not by profit. This also allows us to be able to deploy and raise money cheaper. So cause-specific offering is really great way of solution for nonprofits right now to look at and see how can they change the models, because the regular way for fundraising for nonprofits, usually gala, right? The kind of a gatherings, high level touch where you really get those big checks. That's not happening right now, and they're all drowning. And the problem is that people don't trust that your dollar or your yen or your whatever currency is actually goes into the application, okay, of where you're spending it. And that's why blockchain works really well, because we can actually track where our money is going. And most importantly, we can kind of make it to where my donation is only deployed when the soft gap achieved, right? So that's why it's cost-specific offering. So to fund this ballet performance, we need X amount of money. And once small contributions are collected, then it's kind of an escrow, then it's released, right? And if it's not, it's given back to you. And there's a transparency in the spending as well. I think that that's very important. And as the models for those who are working with cost-driven entrepreneurs, I think this is a great solution for now. And again, because it's a different model of fundraising.
I think we should talk about this on an impact investment panel, because as you rightly said, these are non-profit and they can't make profit because of the business model. And how should be they doing or sustaining or surviving in this pandemic? This is a very good use case for that panel, because we have startups in the impact and sustainable space who might not be having that thing in mind, tokenizing and raising funds. It's such a fabulous idea. I mean, based on the blockchain technology. Great, thank you so much. I
created this specific offering in 2017, by the way, just a little whatever, because I believe that we are not looking at all models. I love thinking about funding models. And again, remember that entertainment often is a nonprofit, right? So that's why I brought it up here, is because a lot of entertainment is removed from our lives. And a lot of entertainment is specifically that was kind of assumed to be there. It was, because it's not the big concerts where you sell tickets, but things that are kind of a given into our reality through, through whatever the cities are doing for us. And usually they work through nonprofits.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very relevant for this topic as well, for this panel as well. Thank you so much, Irina. Okay, we just got 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. And I just want to know some closing thoughts from each of you. Vinny, would like to start with you. So we would love to have you back on the show as well. So we would like to know, what are the closing remarks for this show today, with the title and the discussions around entertainment, social apps, and gaming. So what's your closing remarks for the show today?
Well, I think, and a lot of what Irina has just talked about, change. So my closing remarks would just be around change. Like everything is changing. There's definitely some major shifts that have happened over the past 12 months, and that these shifts are going to stick around. So that would be kind of how I would sum this up.
So for the founders who are looking to raise funds, what's your advice during this pivot?
So that is, yeah, a heavier sort of question. So if you're in an industry that is growing, then going out and raising money is actually not difficult, and it's kind of insane some of the money that some of our companies are raising in the current environment. If you're kind of a bit in the middle, my advice is to not go out and fundraise right now, because the market is not as liquid. And therefore your valuation would not be as high, or the amount of equity that you'd have to give up or the amount that you could raise would be lower. That being said, it really depends on your runway. If you had 6 months of runway, then yes, and extending that is impossible, then you'll definitely need to go out and raise. We basically have worked with all of our portfolio past summer to make sure they have 18 months of runway. So get them someplace late in 2021. And then at that point, the funding environment will be easier. And again, I don't want to say that, like as a VC, we are actively investing. It's not to say that there's not investors out there, but the pool of dollars is tighter. Corporates, more conservative, they've kind of tightened their wallet. The individuals, angel investors, whether they're doing it through US currency or crypto, the fact is that a lot of individuals are just tighter with some of their cash. We don't see as much of that happening. VCs, some of them like ourselves are well capitalized. So we see this as an opportune time to be writing checks for the next sort of decade. But the reality is that pool of capital is slower than, is more shallow than it was 1 year ago. But that will return soon enough.
Yeah, that would return for sure. Thank you, Vinny. What's your
about
VCTV?
I couldn't hear it. Sorry.
Feedback.
Yeah, even I could hear myself talking. I don't know why does it happen, but Vinny, what's the feedback about the VCTV we have?
This has been a solid conversation. Definitely enjoyed it. Very good, different perspectives. So it's great. Not always, everybody saying the exact same thing. So appreciate that.
Yeah. I hope you can join us for more of our shows, because we cover various different topics, and your team members are already here. Thank you so much, Vinny.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you.
Jose, your closing remarks for the session.
Yes, I would like to pick up where Vinny left. I think I like the way he presented it. And I would like to say the following. No investor in this world, right, knows exactly where the next big thing is. They have hunches. They don't know if it's going to be the next unicorn, in effect. So everybody is on the hunt to find that next unicorn, okay? Now, obviously the experience, right, and the analysis of every investment by itself will narrow that down, okay, to make a decision for that investment. Okay, and eventually, they are more successful or less successful. But the problem is, in fact, that there is much more demand than there is offer for investment. So, and the spread is so big that we made a calculation ourselves one of these days, like a month ago, and we came out to a conclusion that 0.004% of all the demand will ever get funded. Mm-hmm. So when you start, right, and you want to raise funds, and if you are not well prepared and you didn't figure out what the investment criteria is of that investor, so you're going to lose a lot of time, and you're going to get a no because it's not in his investment criteria, okay, to start with. And then if you're not able to expose it properly, right, then it's no after no after no. Eventually, you will become better, and eventually you get the job done. But I can tell you one thing, for a lot of people, okay, on this planet, right, they will never get investment because the offer and the demand is a huge spread. And unfortunately, we need much more wealthy people on this planet to change that, okay? then you would have a better leverage. Now, what we are doing at BizMoney, okay, is exactly that. We are trying to create an ecosystem only for the beginners, okay, for those who have the biggest needs and the less conditions, okay, we help them to kick off, that they don't close down, okay, and also we make it in a fashion that they are able to go to that valley, at least the first valley, okay, because that's where they get down. And if they survive the first valley, then suddenly they become fundable, because investors want to invest in something which is good and makes them money. They are not going to invest in anything that doesn't make money.
True.
So typically it's like innovation or a profitable company. Now, if you're not one of both, you're out of the picture. Okay. So that's what I would like to say. On top of this, you can find me on LinkedIn, on Jose Graça, or on BizMoney. I'm always on the lookout for things that has a, what I call business inclusion, and it has to do with entertainment, e-commerce, marketplaces, social networks, and business process automation. So if you have something in that area that we can converge with what we have, you're most welcome.
Absolutely, thank you. And one more question, Jose. What brings you back on VCTV again and again?
Oh, I think that's the best question of the whole show today. So, well, first of all, you know, I like all the people that are involved with VCTV. They're really very nice people, and they make us really comfortable to be on the show. And the second thing is that I think the show itself is very relaxing. It's on the go. There's no scripts here, you know. So the topics are very interesting. And every time I see different faces, so every time I see that there are very big brains on this planet, and that is what brings me always back to be on VCTV, is to, you know, be being part of this whole setup and contributing to those who want to know more.
Absolutely. And Jose, we always like to hear from you on different topics, different insights. Thank you so much for being a part of VCTV. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Irina, over to you, your closing remarks and feedback about VCTV.
My closing remark and feedback. Thank you so much. I would like to encourage entrepreneurs to really understand that they need to do better at pitching on virtually. Okay. I think that we are still relying on the kind of old model of we'll meet, we'll talk, and we'll figure it out in interpersonal relationships. And I think that, the quality of pitches is horrible. Okay. And I judge a lot of them. I see a lot of them, and they are just bad. And the reason they're bad is because people preparing them in a way to where they would pitch in person. So they relying on that on that connectivity. They relying on the ability to be able to connect together, and it's just not happening. So I want to encourage entrepreneurs to make better pitches. Okay, make it a nicer presentation. Do not go into long discussions. Make it to where it's interesting. Okay, capture the attention. If you're talking to investor, look into the camera. Do not read the script at your pitch. You need to know it. These little things, they matter. And the reason they matter is because that's all we have right now. And I think we need to really kind of start pushing into that direction, because the reality is we have to stay connected this way. And you have about 5 minutes to basically capture the attention. And if you're talking for 30 more minutes about whatever it is, you're gonna lose you're just gonna, it's either yes or no, right? And really you understand this, entrepreneurs, investors do not try to figure out why yes. Investors are going to try to figure out why no, because investors' job is to look at opportunities, and it is figuring out if it's a no, okay, is kind of one of the things, because if it's a maybe, then we can continue conversation. And so remember that, okay? And that happens AMA, So American Marketing Association said that you have to capture somebody's attention in 90 seconds to make it a perfect pitch. So have that and make sure you make your presentations according to that. So that's my 5 cents to entrepreneurs. Make sure that you are being competitive, right? As Vinny said, a lot of VCs are right now are making sure that their portfolio companies are well off. And now that we're moving into the new reality of 2021, and we're starting to project, our projections are that we will need to support those companies, right? Because funding right now is extremely expensive. If you are fundraising right now, it's expensive. It's very expensive. Now, it's a good thing for you and for the you investors, because this is the time to make good deals and get, you get to dance in a way that you haven't danced in a while if you have funding, right? If you are a new fund and you do not have money, it's not really fun time to be. Finding LPs right now is not the greatest time, unless you are in space industry doing good. So we'll move on from that. I love being here. As Jose said, connecting with each other, and really it's kind of became this positive thing to say, okay, you know what, people all over the world are dedicating their time. We are connecting. When I think about my global roadshows, right?
Yeah.
My speaking global roadshow, this is the thing that I love the most. There's people that I know very well, and I know that we'll connect with each other, and we'll continue conversations. We'll be able to expand our ways of viewing. We'll know exactly what's happening. We don't watch the news, we just connect with each other. And then there's people that you meet that become those people too. And so there's always this dynamic interaction, and that was removed from our lives. So to me, this is exactly that, because we have people that keep coming back into the show, and then we have people that are new. So Jose, it was so great to see you again. And Vinny, I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm looking forward to next time, to where we can continue this conversation, because I feel like you keep adding and adding and adding new points of view. So, and to you team, guys, you are amazing, and I love you so much. And I wake up for you early in the morning.
Thank you so much, Irina. Thank you so much for your commitment to Vctv. But you rightly said one very important point. The medium of pitching has changed. You are now pitching virtually before the investors. So the kind of nuances has changed from the physical world when you're pitching before a live audience. So look into the eyes of the investors, as you rightly said, rather than reading it out from a script. I mean, that makes a lot of difference, because this is a virtual world, and I think everybody is very focused on the session. So thank you so much, everybody, for the time and commitment. I really appreciate your time and commitment. That's very important, because we would like to have you back on the shows as well for the next sessions, next topics, which are areas of your expertise and the investments that you do. And for the startups and founders, you can always reach out to Jose, Vinny, Irina through our website, www.latoken.com/profiles, and you can see them getting featured. If you are interested in a particular speaker to pitch to, please do let us know, and we're going to help you connect with that particular speaker and investor. Having said that, we are at the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching Vctv, and I will see you tomorrow. Till then, stay safe and stay connected. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.